Hey everyone, so this is Veronica Mars season 1, episode um, 10, um, a very Eccles Christmas. Um, and this is obviously the obligatory Christmas episode of the show. Um, so this really has two sort of um, mysteries going on side by side. There's the one with just Veronica, and then there's the one with just Keith. Um, they both seem to have equal amount of screen time, in my opinion. So I'll just go with one and then go to the other. So essentially, the one with Veronica centers around the fact that Weevil, along with Logan Duncan, another student named Sean, and a movie star named Connor are playing poker, I guess, and they're doing this at Logan's house. So Weevil ends up winning the last hand of the game, and when Logan goes to get the money, which was $5,000 total, $1,000 per person, the money isn't there, which obviously makes Weevil angry. So he strip searches them, and when he doesn't find the money on the person, he steals a Fabergé egg from Logan's house. Um, and says, "Well, look, I'm going to collect the grant from you either way, so um, just don't essentially go anywhere." So the next day at school, Duncan is angrily going up to Weevil because Weevil took his laptop, um, and Veronica witnesses this, and she, after Weevil and Duncan go separate ways, um, she goes up to him to figure out what happened. He tells her, and he's like, "Well, this kind of concerns you because of the fact that um, I kept a journal on my computer, and it goes back 3 years. And since we were dating up until like a year ago, um, you were featured in that journal. So this kind of concerns you too." So she takes it upon herself to start looking into the entire thing. So she first goes to Weevil to talk to him about the poker game. And he says he knows for a fact nobody left the house with the money. But Logan definitely had an opportunity to take the money because of the fact that at one point in the night, his mom, Lynn Echolls, um, steps out in her bathing suit um, to the pool, and which is right outside the pool house, and she jumps into the pool with basically nothing on except her bathing suit, and everyone but Logan was at the window looking at Lynn. So um, Weevil explains to her, like, um, at the end of that little flashback, that he would have torn the house apart himself if he thought he could without Logan calling the cops on him. So um, eventually, Veronica goes over to Deckel's house, um, and finds the pool house torn apart, um, and questions Logan um, about the previous night. So he's like, maybe you should talk to Connor because he seems to have a drug problem. And not only that, but he seems to not like me because, and we see it in a flashback that Connor um, berated him for the fact that he was saying racist things to Weevil. Um, and so, um, and it could also, and he brought up the fact that when he was like, what, 10, 11, or 12 years old, um, there was this girl named Rosie Perez who he had a crush on. And for one of his birthdays, she had come to his birthday party with a purse and called him Lauren. So it could be because of that. That's why he seems to be saying racist things, or he just could be an asshole, like we've seen before in previous episodes. Um, and the reason why he thinks Connor has a drug problem is because every single time his phone had gone off, he would um, he would go to the bathroom, which was apparently frequently. So he manages to get Veronica on the set of the current movie Connor's working on, and at the movie set, she talks with Connor, and he was like, um, Sean um, could be the one who stole the money because he seemed to be a cheapskate. Um, and because he bought like um, cheap booze, and he didn't help pay for the pizza that was ordered to the house. And we also get in a little flashback that um, Connor's get or with Connor that with Connor and everything that Duncan seemed to be sober enough to properly tip the pizza guy. So so um, after her talk with Connor, Veronica asks Wallace to get the home address for Sean um, from the school files and goes over to his house, but she is shut down by his father. So um, the next day at school, Veronica talks with Sean, and he says right before they all Googled Lynn, Weevil was down to his last two chips, and so he suggests to her that he stole the money before he knew that he won the game. Um, So eventually, Veronica goes up to Logan, Duncan, and Sean with Weevil to let them know that she has, in fact, found out who stole the money and why. So, what she wants in return is, in order or in to reveal who it is, she wants to be able to um, she wants to be dealt into the poker game that uh, that she once held later that night, um, in lieu of the person who um, stole the money, because she figures that they wouldn't want this person still there. So she goes to um, the Eccles house that night and explains, it's not Duncan because um, even though he was drinking out of a Jack Daniels bottle, it was actually iced tea that he was drinking because, and she realized it because of the fact that he can't even manage to remember the alphabet, let alone how to properly figure out 20%, a 20% tip for a bill um, when he drinks. So it's not Duncan. It's not Connor because he's not truly a drug addict. He is drinking this diuretic tea so that he loses weight to be able to look his best on a magazine cover. Um, and it's not Logan because while he looks like an ass, smells like an ass, he's not really one. And so that leaves Weevil and um, Weevil and Sean. But I also forgot to mention that it really wasn't Logan either because of the fact that Weevil cleared him due to the fact that, like I said earlier, Weevil had said that he wanted to tear the place apart but didn't because he was afraid Logan was going to call the cops on him if he did. And when Veronica had gone to um, Logan's house the day after the poker game, she saw the place torn apart, which means Logan tore the place apart himself looking for it. So that means if he knew where the money was, he wouldn't have torn the place apart. So that again, like I said, this leaves Weevil and Sean. Um, and it was actually Sean who stole the money. How he did it was he um, brought the cheap booze, which had a big enough hole in it, so that way he could slip the money into an empty bottle of beer. Um, and that way, when the bottle was taken out with the other recyclable stuff, he would be able to come back the next day when it was put out on the curb and take the money home. And the reason why he did it was because he has a shoplifting um, problem, and he needed the money to pay off debts for that. Um, so that's the case of the week with Veronica. Now on to Keith's case in this episode. Um, so Keith gets a case from Lynn Echolls where she believes her husband Aaron is in danger because she gets this, or he gets this letter from someone um, that sounds rather dangerous, and so she wants him to find out um, who it is and to stop them from hurting Aaron. Um, so he takes on the case, and he finds out that there were 6 other pieces of mail from the same person, essentially, and let's see. So he advises her to cancel the Christmas party that she's about to throw, but she doesn't. Um, and then Aaron walks in and is like, "Look, Keith, you gotta let this go because it's not that serious." But when he opens the door for Keith to leave, they see a pumpkin with his Aaron's likeness carved into the front of it, or into one part of it, and it has a knife stuck into his face, and I believe there was blood that was trickling down um, beneath the knife. So clearly, he isn't about to let this go. Um, so Keith is trying to call around to see if there's anyone who does pumpkin carving and can't find it. Um, Keith then tries to go talk to Aaron to see if there's any affairs Aaron has been having, but he claims that he's been faithful to his wife, Lynn. Um, Keith then goes to talk to the catering company that um, not only is catering Lynn Echolls' Christmas party coming up, but they catered a Halloween party at the Casablanca's house, and um, they catered it the previous year, and so Aaron was there with his wife, and he had insisted that server be fired when the server caught him underneath someone else's wife at this party. And so he has Aaron come over to Mars Investigations, lets him know that he knows about the affair at the Christmas or at the Halloween party, and he won't tell Lynn because of the fact that's not the job that she hired him for. She hired him to make sure that her husband was all right, not to find out if he was cheating. So he asks for names of the woman that he slept with at the or was trying to sleep with at the Halloween party, along with all the other women that he had affairs with. So he goes to talk to this person that he was fooling around with at the Halloween party, and she tells him to go to one of the other women that he was having an affair with. And then eventually, Keith is looking at these photos of the Halloween party and realizes that the pumpkin in the background of one of the photos has a carving on it. And so he calls the catering company to see what the server that she fired did with the company. And this woman says, well, she did carving. So Keith's like, well, let me know what he looks like and all that stuff, or what she looks like and all that stuff, and I'll go to the Echols' house to make sure that she's not like that Aaron doesn't get hurt. And but at the night of the Christmas party, which is the same night that Veronica is revealing who the person is who stole the money. The server is there and she stabs Aaron in the side, and basically that's really about it. There was sort of like a little small kind of point towards the end of the episode when everyone was at the Christmas party. Veronica goes to confront Jake Kane about the photos of herself in a bullseye that her mother received, and she finds out that Jake wasn't the one who knew about it and had someone take them. So she sees Jake kind of confront Celeste about it, but we don't really hear him say why did you send this to her mom or whatever. So, but that's really kind of like the only other big thing. So that's really it about that episode. Another standard episode. I think this was also good. Sort of like another medium of the road episode. So that's really all I have for this episode. I think all the characters are doing a good, all the actors are doing a good job portraying their characters. Like all the recurring characters are doing a good job and all that. So I have really no complaints about how they come across on screen. and the bigger case of Lily Kane's death is still, chugging along. Um, it's not really um, taking too long, and it's not being rushed or anything. So I really have no complaints about this episode. So let me know what you guys think. Bye.